We are less than 24 hours away from Crown Jewel 2023 in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and no doubt in my mind that the main event of this show will be and has to be the match for the still unfortunately called undisputed WWE Universal Championship, where the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns faces off against LA Knight. Yeah, in a singles match. And frankly, I've got to say this right now. No matter what WWE puts on TV, no matter how many times they present him in this light, in the light that they have been presenting him so far, Roman Reigns is walking out still Universal Champion from Saudi Arabia. He will beat LA Knight. No doubt in my mind, there's absolutely no chance that the megastar, that's the self-proclaimed megastar, is walking out with that world championship. And the reason is very, very simple. Reigns' championship reign can only end at WrestleMania at this point, in my opinion. And even though they've had LA Knight interrupt Roman Reigns' grand entrance, which we have never seen before, even though they've had LA Knight sit at the head of the table during a contract signing against and confronting the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns, which we've never seen before. Even though they've had LA Knight cook him on the microphone to the point that he's mentioned that suffering succotash promo that everyone is going to ridicule Reigns for the rest of his career, no matter how good he's become now as a tribal chief. We've never seen that before. All of that WWE is doing and has done up until this point has been done to protect LA Knight, to better position LA Knight after his loss to Roman Reigns tomorrow morning in Saudi Arabia. Because again, they're not about to sacrifice a 3+ year storyline involving Roman Reigns, the bloodline, the championship itself, the tribal chief, this amazing run that he's been on ever since he made his return on August of 2020. They're not about to sacrifice that for a man who, frankly, and again, I'm a big LA Knight fan. I've been a fan of his since he was Eli Drake, all the way back in TNA Wrestling in 2015. But Eli Drake, LA Knight, yeah, has been over for what, 6 months, 8 months? He really got himself over prior to WrestleMania earlier this year. And I'll give the props where it's due. He's definitely hung in there as a top star in terms of promo quality, specifically and especially on last week's SmackDown. I was really impressed by what he did on the microphone, what he did on the stick, how he carried himself during that entire segment, and he does not look out of place when he's facing off against Roman Reigns. But the moment is not now to put the main championship, the biggest championship, and to give him the biggest accolade possible right now at this moment in time. It's just not him. It's just not the right time, unfortunately, for LA Knight. Now, hopefully, like I said, WWE has done everything in their power to position himself in a way that, even though if he does lose to Roman Reigns, like he will, he's going to give him the fight of his life. And we've seen this in the past. Much like way back in 2002. The Undertaker beating Jeff Hardy in that ladder match for the Undisputed title. Back then, Jeff Hardy got himself over. Undertaker put him over after that match. I don't think we're going to see something exactly the same, but we're going to see Roman Reigns' facial expressions after he beats LA Knight. And we're going to see that Roman Reigns is sort of impressed, sort of surprised by the fight that the self-proclaimed megastar was able to put during that match. And hopefully, like I've said in the past, this leads to LA Knight. Yeah. Challenging for the United States Championship down the line. Hopefully at WrestleMania. Hopefully he wins that championship for the very first time on the grand stage of them all, WrestleMania. But that is months, like in the future. Months in the future. So with that said, Roman Reigns for the win. He's walking out still Universal Champion. No doubt in my mind. You cannot change my mind about that. If we get that surprise, if we get that 1% chance that LA Knight wins, I might shit my pants. So we'll just have to wait and see. With that said, the United States Championship is also on the line because Logan Paul, the self-proclaimed Maverick, the Maverick, whatever you want to call him, he's challenging Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship in Saudi Arabia in a match that, frankly, yes, I am excited for because Rey Mysterio does not seem to age, even though he's about to be 50 years old. He still moves like if he was 39, 40. Okay, let's not get too carried away with this. But I want to see how Logan Paul handles himself against a legend like Rey Mysterio. Against someone smaller in stature, a lot more fast-paced. Let's see if they can actually bring a story to life in this match. Where Logan Paul, he's the big bully to Rey Mysterio's eternal underdog character. We'll just have to wait and see how Logan Paul is able to connect the dots in terms of storytelling for this match. But again, if we're going to see one championship change hands in Crown Jewel, it is going to be this one. Because I firmly believe Logan Paul is walking out with the United States Championship, and he's going to try to bring back, hopefully bring back, relevancy to that championship on SmackDown, and hopefully in the mainstream, because see, Logan Paul is a mainstream star. So that's going to bring back relevancy to the title that we haven't seen since a year and a half ago when it was the main title on Raw because they didn't have a world title. But overall, Logan Paul walks out with the United States Championship, and you already know my prediction. Logan Paul defends that title and loses that title to LA Knight. Yeah, at WrestleMania, they've already got some predisposed beef since before Money in the Bank pay-per-view in London. So hopefully that plays into that. We got ourselves a pre-show match, Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough, rightfully so, on the pre-show, with all due respect to Sami Zayn, with all due respect to JD McDonough, and again, they're fantastic performers, but this match has no place being even on the pre-show, but they have to do something. So with that said, Sami Zayn's going to get the win. It's going to be very hard to even have Judgment Day get involved in this match and get JD to win. It's going to be very hard to pull that off, so I'm going to give the win to Sami Zayn. We have the fatal 5-way match for the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley defending her title against 4 different opponents. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. And I've said this before. This match is just a vehicle for Mommy to be able to, 1, show her dominance over the division, and for her to get a win over most of these female superstars who, frankly, at this point in time, very few of them have been built by WWE Creative to be able to challenge Rhea Ripley in singles competition, in a singles feud. Now, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, could any of these be formidable challengers to Rhea Ripley one-on-one? Yes. But unfortunately, Creative on Raw, when it comes to the women's division, has been severely lacking ever since WrestleMania. We've talked about this in the past. They had no choice but to put a fatal 5-way match for the Women's World Championship, and Rhea Ripley's walking out with the title. If I had to pick someone to walk out of this match as Women's World Champion instead of Rhea, which again, much like Roman Reigns, I don't think there's a chance in hell that's going to happen, but if I had to pick one, it would definitely be Shayna Baszler. Number 1, for all intents and purposes, she retired Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam. That's a big enough accolade to put her as Women's World Champion. And frankly, I would love Ripley and Baszler to go at it for the remainder of the year for that title. And again, Rhea Ripley doesn't have to get pinned to lose the championship in this match. So that's always a possibility. But I'm gonna stick with Rhea Ripley retaining her championship in this case in time. And then we've got a series of singles matches. The American Nightmare versus Senior Money in the Bank. Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. And a very, very particular case in this pay-per-view because for the first time in quite a while, ever since becoming Mr. or Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest is going to have both the world's heavyweight champion, Seth freaking Rollins, or maybe Drew McIntyre if he wins, and the Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, or maybe LA Knight if he wins, Damian Priest is going to have both world champions that he could cash in his briefcase on under the same building, on the same night. And he can pick and choose who he wants to cash in on if he decides to do so at Crown Jewel. That's a storyline in of itself. So just based on that, based on the fact that for the most part, WWE likes to book their Money in the Bank winners, whoever holds the briefcase, to lose and lose and lose, especially as bait, as a bait and switch, as a way of taking people off the bait, actually, from him cashing in. We saw it for the first time with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31. He lost to Randy Orton, and then he cashed in the main event. I wouldn't be surprised if that exact thing happens at Crown Jewel. Cody Rhodes gets the win over Damian Priest, and then Damian Priest cashes in on any world champion. And again, that any world champion is most definitely going to be the world's heavyweight champion. Whoever walks out of that match, the winner. I don't see Priest versus Reigns anytime soon. So with that said, Cody Rhodes gets the win, and we'll just have to wait and see if Damian Priest cashes in his title. If I were a betting man, it's hard. It's hard because you either have Damian Priest cash in right before WrestleMania season, and then he loses it right before WrestleMania, or you have him cash in right after WrestleMania, which is an even smaller window because you have another Money in the Bank pay-per-view coming up right like 2-3 months after WrestleMania itself. So again, it's very tough. For now, I'm going to say Damian Priest does not cash in at Crown Jewel. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. He's not cashing in no matter what. John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. And I think this is LA Knight's very next feud. I mean, Solo Sikoa. With that said, Solo Sikoa is going to lose to John Cena at Crown Jewel, unfortunately, even though I think it should go the other way. But they've made a big deal about John Cena not winning a singles match since 2018. And he's the greatest of all time, a former 16-time world champion. And ever since Solo Sikoa's first loss at the hands of Cody Rhodes, what was it, the Monday before WrestleMania, Solo Sikoa has been losing a lot more since then, and has been pinned a lot more since then, compared to when he first debuted. So, Cena for the win. Personally, I'd go with Sikoa, but yeah, it's WWE. Yeah, Cena gets the win. He's eventually going to return to Hollywood. Let's see if the strike might be coming to an end soon. Hopefully, we'll just have to wait and see. And then Solo Sikoa is going to move on to feuding with LA Knight, keeping him busy until WrestleMania season. Yeah. We have the singles match for the Women's Championship. Io Sky defends her title against the return of the EST herself, Bianca Belair. Now I'm gonna get right to the point with this one. I want Io Sky to retain her championship at Crown Jewel. I need Io Sky to retain her championship at Crown Jewel. Not because I don't like Bianca Belair as champion. Not because I don't want Bianca Belair to be champion. But because if Bianca Belair wins the Women's Championship at Crown Jewel, if she beats Io Sky at Crown Jewel, then we'll most likely have Charlotte Flair winning the Royal Rumble match, the Women's Royal Rumble match in January, and challenging Bianca Belair in that dream match at WrestleMania. And I do not want that. I do not want that. We're going to get that match no matter what, but the best way for me, at least, and this is just my opinion, to get there is to have Charlotte Flair be Women's Champion, get Bianca Belair to win that Royal Rumble, once again, have her challenge Flair for the title at WrestleMania, and have Flair lose at WrestleMania against Bianca Belair for that championship. Because if it's the other way around, Charlotte Flair is going to win at WrestleMania. I don't think she needs it. I don't want her to win that match. And frankly, you got to build up Bianca Belair even more. And put her at the top of the division. Put her on the same level as Charlotte Flair, who they keep saying is about to be a 15-time world champion. It's going to be 13 because I don't count the NXT Women's Championships. That's college. That's developmental. I don't count it. So, yeah, Io Sky is going to retain for me. And on top of that, Io Sky could be the Kurt Angle circa 2000 of the current women's division on SmackDown. Because 2001, we got The Rock versus Stone Cold in the main event for the championship. But Kurt Angle was champion until January or February of 2001, right before WrestleMania. He lost the title. They could do the exact same thing with Io Sky. Io Sky could keep the championship all the way to January, all the way to February in Australia in the Elimination Chamber, and she loses it in the Elimination Chamber match against Charlotte Flair. And then we get the dream match, Flair versus Belair at WrestleMania. And Io Sky gets to do something, and she doesn't get to be so weak from a character standpoint. And maybe we get Io Sky versus Bayley at WrestleMania once and for all, one-on-one, backstabbing, betrayal, all that feud. You put her in the best position possible for fans to stick with her and keep their interest high on her and keep their interest high in Damage Control as it is. So, for now, Io Sky is going to retain at Crown Jewel. That's my prediction. And, finally, the match for the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth freaking Rollins against Drew McIntyre. And I have a feeling this match might open the show, which I wouldn't be thrilled about because it's the World Championship. You don't have to put it right before the Universal Championship match. You could have a match right in the middle, a buffer. But, keep it as a semi-main event. It is a world title after all. But I've talked about this in the past, and I'm not going to diverge from it. Seth freaking Rollins is going to walk out still World Heavyweight Champion. And this feud, this rivalry is going to continue, and a Scottish Warrior is going to have to turn back into the Scottish psychopath to get that world title off of Seth freaking Rollins. It just won't be in Saudi Arabia. It just won't be tomorrow morning in Crown Jewel or tomorrow night in Saudi Arabia in Crown Jewel. Because the story needs to keep playing out, and Seth freaking Rollins needs to keep hanging on to that title by the skin of his teeth to the point that Drew McIntyre has no choice but to turn on him and turn heel. And we get that psychopath back on WWE TV. So with that said, those are my predictions for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Tune in later on tonight for SmackDown, the go-home show. It's already been taped. No spoilers, please. People still want to watch that. We've got, if I'm not mistaken, Rampage later on tonight. Collision tomorrow night. Crown Jewel tomorrow morning. A lot of wrestling to look forward to. So with that said, leave your thoughts, leave your comments and predictions on the comment section below. I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.